good evening, everyone. Hello, Kellyanne. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right.
Yeah,
Drama
right.
over.
Yeah,
You
Kellyanne
okay?
had a bit of a drama with her sound level. I think we might have some feedback, but that's all right. Um, you lost your headset, or no, not you.
Not me. No, that would be middle child.
Oh, the middle child. Oh, these
Mm,
things happen. But I think we both had technical dramas today. It's nothing new with me, Kellyanne,
no, it's a fair one.
honestly. But that's all good. So, yeah, another week, another pleasure.
It's gone so fast, though, hasn't it?
It is just like this is what it's so funny. I was actually saying that to myself earlier, and I was going to tell you, I was like, it's already a week gone. It's just like, yesterday I went to a workshop. The workshop with Tony actually was really interesting, and I had afterwards like a coaching call with him, and I was stuck in my head. And what I was going to say, well, we're going to talk today about is limiting beliefs, right?
Mhm.
So I was yesterday really stuck in my head, and he really unstuck me. He was just telling
Good.
me, it's like, you're really good in what you're saying, but you need to learn your own things as well. Or you actually live to your own standards that you're saying. And it's the truth. We all still get stuck sometimes in our head. I don't know how it is with you. It's like, we
Yeah,
know it all. We're so good on these things, but then we get ourselves these things.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
that's one
what
of the
has,
things that
hmm?
I've been talking about tonight. So I've just done my workshop for my group,
Yeah.
and we talked about the 3 irrational beliefs that keep you stuck.
Hmm.
So that's been quite interesting. I think they're going to have a little bit of an eye opener tonight when they do their workbooks, because they've really got to dig into what their beliefs actually are, and be really honest. So it should be quite interesting tomorrow to see what they've come up with.
Yeah, and I think it was yesterday. I think yesterday's podcast where I said be limited. Um, where I talked about basically it's all our ego. It's actually this little ego voice in our head that's like and doesn't really stop. Um, and it is so funny. We do listen to this. I mean, we all have this voice in our head, right? And it's just it's sometimes really loud, and you just really listen to these things, which is kind of funny because we know it all better, and we still do let it listen to that one. um it's you can't do this, you can't do that. And I was like, I think I brought up the example where I was saying about it, like, you're going to say, right, I do the London Marathon, and automatically it will go like, are you crazy? This is this voice, and it's like, but it is so, how can I say, I think it is so interesting how we listen to while we know we can do things, and it's just this voice that constantly is there. And I find it really interesting because as we have all the positive sides that we could say, like, wow, you can train for it. And look at 645, I'm like the same. I started 645, like, now I'm in week 11. And when I started it, I said, oh, fuck, I can never finish this thing. I can't. It's just like, trying to, with the weights and everything. I said, oh my God, this is ridiculous. And by now, I mean, I lift weights now like crazy. And I was talking earlier on a podcast, on a video, with a really quickly on live, we was talking about is like, I never lifted. I'd never liked lifting weights anyway. I just did about 3 years ago, and then I did quite well. I mean, I built up quite well, and then I just overdid it, and I just had a rotator cuff injury. And I was like, automatically, my ego voice would tell me in that exact point, you did it 3 years, and it took you 2 years to recover from this rotator cuff injury. So, what crazy thing are you thinking to do that? While following now this program where he really took me from zero to where I'm today, let's say to the peak, I realize I'm way more capable than I thought. And actually, the pains in my rotator cover completely gone because he properly trained me up to it, right? So push down the limiting belief. We had talked about yesterday where we do just see. I love your message and your pictures with the spiders turning around. Another one of these limiting beliefs, right? I had a severe fear of spiders. And I told you I'm going to tell you a story I can do tonight, actually. It's like, well, long story short, I woke up with a tarantula in bed in Venezuela. And yeah, so, you know, and
yeah, you don't need that in your life.
No, I didn't. But, you know, I was like in the hotel, and it's actually quite funny because it's actually not, the story is a bit longer, actually. Where I woke up, and I do sleep naked. I'm honest. Hello, internet. You know, everybody in the world knows that I sleep naked. I feel very constricted if I have something on. Anyway, so me lying there in the bed, and then having this, you know, like in the States, they have these white, or in all international orders, they don't really have a blanket. They have these white sheets, like just a sheet over it, right? So I'm under the sheet, and I wake up, and I have these big thing sitting right here on top of me like this, and just going with the, I mean, like, seriously, right? So what I did, I actually took the sheet, and I threw the sheet off me, right, with the spider flying through the air on the opposite of the room where the TV was. So me, like I am, as God put me on this planet, jump on the side table with the phone, dialing for reception. So I get reception. She's like really calm. It's like, you know, yes, sir, no worries. I'm going to send somebody. And we're like, yeah, now? because I see, and actually it started crawling up the other side on the wall, just on the opposite, right? So eventually the maintenance guy comes and knocks at the door. And I'm still on the phone with her. I was like, you know, you're not hanging up. You know, I have this big feast in my room. And anyway, she's like, yeah, but he's there. And I said, yeah, well, tell him to come in. He has a key card, right? So he can come in. I'm not going to move here and open the door right now. Anyway, so he comes in, just passes like the bed, looks at me standing there naked as I was. Probably thinking like, what the fuck, weirdo? and just, he just takes a spray, sprays this thing. The thing drops down. He takes it with his hands, puts it in the box. And I'm like, is it dead? And he said, oh, no. And I'm like, okay, what are you going to do with it? He said, I'll put it outside. The most normal thing, right? So, you know, doesn't matter. All good. I had like a 3-day layover there. Next morning, and I'm very sensitive with my eyes with shampoo. So I'm in this glass, you know, this is the kind of glass doors, which is like the shower is a complete glass frame, right? Yeah, one side we come in. So this side I come in, and then the other side is like to the bathroom. So, and I always close my eyes when I shower, when I wash my hair, because I'm really sensitive with shampoo in my eyes. I go really crazy. Anyway, so what happened then is, like, I'm standing there and washing my hair, and with my eyes closed. And you know, I have this feeling something's behind you or something is around you. And I just feel this whoosh next to me. So me opening the eyes, right? Shampoo in my eyes. I'm like really and looking left, right, and I look down in this thing, and then I just see another of these bees with me in the shower. So I didn't go out. With the door. No, I went the other way. I took the entire glass wall with me. So 1,000 of these glass splitters, but you know, it's like security glass, which doesn't cut you, but it's just like 1,000 of pieces. So fair enough. I'm like, that's it. Anyway, we're checking out on that day, called again reception. They came, they got this one, all fine. And it's like, the guy's like thinking like, where do you get them from? And I'm like, what do you mean where I get them from? Where they're fucking coming from, right? And so anyway, we go to the airport, crew gets on board the aircraft. the funny thing is the plane always stood there for like 6-7 hours in outside, basically on an outside position. And so we're taking off. So I'm sitting in my crew seat. I'm looking to the side to the galley. And at the galley, underneath the trolley, I see this black thing just moving. So I'm like, really? And then, I mean, I picked up the phone, called the captain, and I said, like, I think we have a spider here on board with us. And by now, everybody thinks I'm absolutely crazy because they're taking the piss out of me. The entire crew knew about it, right? So he said, come on, now you're imagining. And I'm like, no, I'm serious. I saw this thing, right? Anyway, you're taken off. Plane starts to level out. First officer comes out of the flight deck. And he said, so where? And I said, well, they're underneath the trolley. And actually, when he pulled out the trolley, and he saw it as well, and he actually saw the beast running, and he said, all right, it's there. But then it disappeared. They couldn't find it. So we actually had to return back to Caracas at that moment, because obviously you have a big fucking tarantula on board the aircraft, right?
Importing spiders.
Maybe not good for 12-hour flights. Sorry, not the best thing to do. But that was where my entire fear of spiders came from. And it was so bad that when this size, I tell you, I'm done. I couldn't move. I literally went into frantic moments and I couldn't breathe. I actually got so bad that I even froze in the room when I saw them. I couldn't even approach them to kill them. It's just that, want to kill like that. But here we go, limiting beliefs. Just recently, the other day, I had one walking through my room, going into the bathroom. I let her be. Gone.
100%.
It's just
I
gone.
used to be terrified. But I made that conscious decision not to kill stuff because it's really bad, like I said to you, energetically. And I've taught myself to pick them up with a little cup and a plate and reintroduce them back to outside.
Yeah, and they're probably more scared of us than anything, right? And it's just
massively.
But there you see what limiting belief do to you, because as I said, I looked at these beasts and I was like, I mean, okay, they're still not the most fascinating animals on the planet, but it's just really silly how this, and I kept saying until probably like a couple of months ago, a couple of weeks ago, I kept saying, I would have told you, I cannot deal with spiders. I mean, the little ones, fair enough. I mean, I could just pick them. I couldn't even pick them up and throw them out. That's not a problem. But as soon as they got a bit of a bigger size like this, it's just like, cannot do. And it's just my limiting belief that said, I just can't do it. I freeze up here. And then it's just, it's so silly. That there again, it's our inner voice that tells us what we can and what we can't do, while we can do anything our mind puts ourselves to. And that's just something to learn. What are your limiting beliefs? What are you where you say, oh, here I have a limiting belief?
I think I've actually managed to smash through a lot of them this year, if I'm honest. I think for me, I think if you learn to accept that you do have limiting beliefs, you recognize them, but you do it anyway. I think for me, that's a big thing. Like, did I mention that David signed me up for an ultra marathon for my 40th?
No.
So this is my 40th birthday present. I took him, I did a party for him, came to Ibiza as a surprise, renewed our wedding vows. We're doing the Run the Wall, the Hadrian's Wall, 100 kilometers in 26 hours.
Oh, wow.
And I do take the mick and I'm like, oh, you mental. But actually I'm training already for it, because you can do anything, can't you? You might tell yourself on loop in your head that you can't. Hi, it's Tony.
Hi, Tony.
But you tell yourself, don't you, in this loop in your head, I can't do it. And I'm like, but I actually can. Like, I know I can. You know, I did the Great North Run and I didn't even train for that. I just turned up and ran 13.1 miles one day. But it's the same as anything, like even setting up business and stuff like that. You could easily get into your own head. And again, it's all about them 3 irrational beliefs, isn't it? Approval, judgment, and comfort, you know, and everything that you do is kind of governed around these things. And I think if you just recognize it and sort of say, yeah, cheers, I know what you're saying, but actually you learn to sort of say, nah, you're a load of rubbish. But I don't think I would know that if I hadn't have gone through coaching myself, if that makes sense. Like I would still been stuck on that loop, going round and round and round. Can't do that, can't do that, can't do that. Whereas instead now I say, even if I'm really, really scared, what is this teaching me? And that's kind of how I've learned to flip it, I guess. So I don't support, I mean, stuff will come up. Stuff always comes up, doesn't it? But I don't think I have any major ones anymore. Definitely not. Like I had a really big one around driving when I had that car accident. I mean, I completely 100% manifested that car crash because I'd get in my car every single day and I'd be like, I'm going to have a crash, I'm going to have a crash, I'm going to have a crash. It was just going round and round and round in my head on loop. Don't know what it was. And it did cause, well, I had a Hilux go into the back of the eye of my Igor, which you can imagine is big, straight into another car with 2 of my kids in the car. And it was just hideous. And then I couldn't get back in a car after that for a long time. Whereas now I'm completely, I was getting anxiety and panic attacks after that because of that experience, which I basically caused. Because what do we say? Like where attention goes, energy flows. It happened. But I worked through it and I'm fine now. I do a 100-mile round trip every day at work and it's fine. But I got through that belief by telling myself I love driving and I'm a good driver.
And that's all it is. It's actually, as I say, it's just this little ego voice that keeps telling us what we can and what we can't do. And it's just when you come to the realization that you're actually limitless, and I mean that's what yesterday's podcast was all about, is when you come to this realization, you actually it's such an eye-opener as well, where you go like, well, hang on a minute. Just 3 weeks ago, I just didn't even believe I could do that. And I'm just doing it right now. It's like, and as you said, it's in business the same thing. It's like, we could sit here and say, oh, well, there's so much chatter out there, or there's so much noise out there. How would we break into a market of motivational and transformational coaches? Because there you have your Tony Robbins and your Oprah and on these people, but it doesn't hold us back because we just say, no, we do have a message. And I was actually talking to Tony about that yesterday, where it's like saying, like, he said, but Chris, you have an amazing message and you need to believe in that message. And, if you don't, this is what I was like yesterday. I was like, wow, the hours that go in to do the work that we do on a daily basis, that is a lot of hours. And then sometimes, and I talked about that in the podcast as well. It's like, you go on Facebook and you make a post and you're all excited and you think like, oh, wow, that's like, you get the instant gratification from people. And then you get 3 likes and you go like, see, it's like, yeah, it doesn't help that. But then again, where we have to go and we say what we're talking and what we're saying, we're changing the joys of the world every day, one minimum. And that's exactly the point where you see that if I change one person a day and you do the same, that's about 730 people a year. That's a lot. That's a lot of people. And we just need to look at it and that thing that we just, it's like, obviously it's better to change thousands on a day, but even if it's only one person, which it isn't, and there are more people. And while we come here on every Tuesday doesn't matter if people are here on live or if they do watch it in the replay, but we might really impact people and change people there. And I think that's what just taking away or not looking at this limiting belief, that it's like, well, what's the point of it? It's just really ridiculous, because if we all think that way, that's why the world sometimes doesn't move, because people get so stuck in everything. They don't even start. This ego voice talks to them and they don't even start. They don't even sit down and try something. They want to lose weight and they talk about it, but then there are the 1,000 of excuses, and it's not excuses, it's actually their ego talking to them. He's like, oh, you can't do it, and you're gonna do 7 days and then you're gonna fall off the wagon, and and that's what it is. And then a year later they haven't moved anything, and then I think they come to the point where they come to the end of their life and they look back and they say like, oh, the should is. And actually Tony had yesterday, he's like, what are you leading by soul or shoulds? And it's really good, because we always, or a lot of people do go, is this, oh, I should have done this, I should have done that, I should have done this. Well, why the bloody didn't you do it? Who held the pistol at your head and said, you can't do it? You actually did it yourself, because it's your limiting belief.
Yeah.
It's very simple there, right? And
that's what they say, isn't it? You should all over yourself.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, actually that's what it is. And so like,
it's a shame.
There's nothing that we're not capable of doing, actually. That's why I think yesterday was where I talked about as well the was Limitless, the movie, where he has this ATT-48, this medication, and then it taps into his brain, and but it's not a fantasy, it's reality. Our brain is amazing out of the box. And it's just society and actually our self-inflicted beliefs that we have, that holds us back from anything. You can be anything. You can reach anything you want. You can become a millionaire. You can become, you can become a big motivational speaker. You can do anything you want in life. You just need to put your head to it. And, if you do positive affirmations, like me saying, oh God, we're laughing about it, but, me getting up at 5:30 or actually 5 o'clock every morning to sit here doing the podcast. I swear to you, when I started the podcast, I said, okay, here we go, I'll do the podcast now every morning, 5 o'clock. Yeah. And day 4, I went like, really?
Yeah.
And I felt like I could never stick doing. My limiting beliefs were talking. My ego was there. You're never going to stick to it on a morning routine schedule for yourself, because, And then in the beginning, I had some issues as well with the sound and the systems, and didn't work. So there were like 2 or 3 days, I think the first 3 days, where it came on in the afternoon, where the podcast came out in the afternoon. Not that I didn't get up in the morning, I did, but then I had all these issues. So it took me like really long. But now I'm doing it every day, and I actually look forward to it in the morning. It's just like I get up and I'm really energetic, and I put a smile on my face, and I said, great day. And I do the podcast. It takes me by now, I think, the recording about 15 to 20 minutes. And then I do edit it, just so my ums and ahs get it out of it. And sometimes when I sometimes when I don't, I have to rephrase the sentence like 3 times because I think I'm not awake. But I'm really seeking my I have to be honest, I can do it, and I really enjoy it now. It's just getting out of this head space that holds you back, and it's just like, people just need to understand that it's all about, it's a switch. Actually, you can switch anytime, and it's not something complicated.
Mm-hmm.
It all starts with this belief that you can do it, and once you say you can do it, you will be able to do it. There's no question about it.
Absolutely. You know, I mean, you do tend to find that, like when I speak about the irrational beliefs, that is what drives all of these limiting beliefs. Either you do strange and random things for acceptance, because let's face it, what I talked about earlier, the brain's evolved 1% in 1,000 years, and we're tribalistic creatures. We want to belong. So we tell ourselves stories, don't we? You know, I was laughing earlier about the fact that women still go to the toilet together and shopping together. But it was because we were the gatherers. We were out there gathering when the men were off hunting, and we had to protect each other. But we still do it because the brain's only evolved by 1%. Like, I find it so I love this subject. I absolutely find it so fascinating, because I've been stuck in that cycle in the past where I'm on loop with something and I'm running away with this stupid belief about something. Whereas actually now that I understand all of this, you know, the fact that I don't need to be approved of, and actually it's none of my business what people think about me. You know, do you know what I mean? I just think you genuinely, you know, as long as I approve of myself and I'm doing what I feel is right, and I don't really care what anybody else thinks about that. So, you know, happy days. And I just wish that more people could open their eyes to it, if that makes sense, because I see it all around me. I don't know about you. People, like, they're on their little hamster wheels doing crazy weird stuff because, again, like they should, because you should do this. You should do a 9 to 5. You should turn up for this. You should. I hate it. It drives me nuts. It really does.
And that it is. Well, you know, we always reel here. It's all like, and as I say, you know, we know it all. It's like when I became a platinum trainer for Tony Robbins, and it was just really funny where I went. Oh, so you know, I did my first event was really unleash the power within. So, you know, so I go to this event and it's all, you know, how Tony is. He's like, rah, you know, throwing power and everybody's on the tear. Actually, the first event, I mean, it's like, I think it was his first event as well, the big one, actually. And to be honest, everybody's jumping there on the chairs. And I'm like, what the fuck? Where did I end up here? What kind of cult am I in here? It's like, you know, but it was just so engaging because the good thing about Tony is he talks to you while he doesn't even talk to you. He goes into the audience and he talks to somebody else, but you actually have the feeling that he's talking to you personally while he's even talking to somebody else. And I think I love that about him because, I mean, when you know Tony a little bit better, it's just the way he is. He is just so genuine and he gets so piercing through to your brain. So we get to the end of the event, and the big end of the event is obviously doing the hot coal walk, so the fire walk, right? With the fuming hot grit coals, basically. And, you know, to really make the demonstration perfectly to you, they take a frying pan with an egg and they put the frying pan on it and they put the egg in it. And it goes like in about 2 seconds, this egg is burned, literally burned. So, and then he says, so now you're going to walk over it. And it's actually quite long. It's like about 5 meters, 6 meters. It's quite a long way to walk, right? So they measure it and they go, like, they really do it dramatically. They put the they put the thing and the temperature measure thing there in there, and it shows you it's like about, don't know what, 800,000 degrees and temperature. And he's like, right, so you want me to walk over that barefooted, right? Are you for real, mate? And here goes your ego telling you, are you fucking out of your mind? And you have been pumped up and you work towards that thing for 3 days. It's all, everybody knows, anticipation. You're going to walk these hot coals, right? So I'm standing in line, like, you know, like there are a lot of people in front of me. It's not like one line. It's all, they did it outside. And it's not one line. There's several lines. So basically we got sent into these lines because they're like about, what, 4,000 people in this event.
Sounds like Auschwitz. Herded into these lines.
Yeah, exactly.
Ready to go in the shower.
And, you know, they're like about hundreds of people in front of me doing it. And they all go like, up, 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 up. and he stands next to you and he actually talks to you and he says like, okay, so look forward now, don't look down, just say to yourself, you can do it, and start walking. Are you with me? And he looks at you and he looks in your eyes and he's like, are you with me? Yeah. Are you with me? Okay, let's go. Now go and walk. And then you just start walking. Well, that was all good. I saw all these people in front of me. They all did it. And it's like, the end there's like a water thing where you just go in right immediately. Like, and then there's like I don't know, like almost a grass carpet where you just have to walk through. So any other ashes that might be in between. So what I did, and now I'm like number 3, 4, there are 3 people in front of me. I'm like, the feeling is getting really mounting here right now. So there's number 2 in front of me. I'm like, okay. And I'm getting close to number 1. And I'm like, I think I'm not going to fucking do it, right? Because no bloody way I'm walking over these red glowing coals. And then, I was in the group with Tony because some of them were like platinum trainers like me now, but they were just doing the assistant or on their part. And I was really lucky I was actually with Tony. So he looked at me and he said, are you ready? And I think he could tell in my face, I was everything but bloody ready, right? And it is like, and he said, snap out of it now. You can do it. It's all in your mind. Let's do it. Are you ready? And I'm like, okay, I'm ready. And he said, ready, go. And I actually start walking over it. Don't give me, he didn't push me, but it was almost like this. But to be very honest, yes, it was hot. You can feel the heat. I didn't get burnt. That is the most liberating thing when you do it, that you realize you didn't get burnt. And that is just like mind over matter. Mind really over matter. It actually is possible. There's a reason why it is possible and why it works. But that's beside the point. And by now I know what is the reason why, because it's the speed you walking and everything. Mm-hmm. Our body is actually capable to deal with this heat without burns, and obviously under the feet we do have a bit of protection. That's why as well the water and the carpet afterwards, they need to get this small ashes out of your feet, because that's where little blisters could happen. Didn't even happen to me. I had no blister whatsoever. But it's just, you see how stuck we are in the head, which is our logic as well, because as a child we learn, you touch the stove when it's hot, you burn.
Yeah.
Right? And it is engraved by our society and by our beliefs that we have, that is impossible.
Well, it's the third irrational belief, though, isn't it? For comfort, we genuinely, like you say, as a society, believe we should never be inconvenienced. We should never be in pain or hurt. We should live an easy life, and that's clearly why he does it as well, as a demonstration that sometimes things are going to hurt or be a bit uncomfortable, and in your head you're going to say, I don't want to do that. I don't want that in my life. But you can do it. You can achieve it, and you can get past it. And I just find it fascinating. I really do.
Well, that's what it is. It's like, people don't have to worry in our events. We're not going to do the cool walk, but maybe we should actually. we actually should do that. Actually, maybe we find another nasty thing to do. No,
Iron Maiden.
What I believe, it's like, but it's the truth, because it is such a liberating thing when you get past that one. Because I've done it by now probably 400 times. It doesn't have the same effect anymore, obviously, but I do, because when I did a lot of coaching for them, and actually, I had to do it always in the events actually, but it is just still always fascinating as well to see how people feel afterwards and how much that unstucks them for their entire life.
Yeah.
This is just one little thing that you just did. And as I said, there's a physiological reason why you are able to do it and why it's possible to do that on these hot colds. But that's not even important because it's just this liberating moment, and where you can say, bloody hell, I did that. I can do anything possible in my life. And that is, I think, is the fascinating part of it. That's why it's so good as an exercise, to just go and do it. I can only recommend it to do it. We have to do it on the events. We have to do it at least next year on the Mega Summit in Orlando. We have to actually do it. We have to we'll do the firewalk. I think it's going to be so much fun to do it, actually, because people will take such a win from it. This entire seminar was absolutely amazing with Tony, and as I said, as much, I adore him for what he's doing. But that was the single moment where I really said, fuck, I can do anything. I really can do anything. And pardon my French, but that's really what I went. It's like, have you done anything like that before?
No.
Would you do it?
I mean, I'd probably be the same as you, stood up there thinking, what the holy frick am I doing right now? And you do the whole, I can't do it. Oh God, I'm doing it.
Oh God, I'm doing it.
It's going to be a bit like that ultra marathon. Can't do it. Oh, I'm actually doing it. What's happening here?
Yeah, and
it's just recognizing it, isn't it? And sort of saying, actually, you can. And how many people, I think that's it, isn't it? It's proof. How many people before you have done it and are unscathed, like setting up a coaching business, how many people have done it and are doing well? Like, if you've got that proof, do you know what I mean? Why are you telling yourself that you can't do it? What's so bad about you or so different about you that you can't achieve these things? And it's that negative self-talk.
And that's like, with all our clients, we always go in that point where we go like, I have just recently one on a one-to-one actually with somebody who said to me, yeah, but Chris, I know what you're going to say. It's just me being in my head. And I'm like, well, so if you know that, so here's your ego talking, you know that, why you don't change it then? He said, yeah, but, and I said, oh, here's the ego again, but there is the reason for something why you couldn't do it. So I said, what are your reasons? Because I'm going to debunk these reasons within 2 words, literally, fucking get out of your brain right now, because just do it. And it's quite funny that I think you just really you put a really good point on there, right? Is the stripe thing as well. People, even when you do things, people around you, they actually try to even imprint their limiting beliefs on you, which is like the worst on top of it, because you might be as powered up, and we saying we are off to do big things here, and then people say like, yeah, but why are you doing that? It's like, there is not there is a Tony Robbins already. And I'm like, and we talked about it. As I said yesterday, Tony and we had this conversation. I was like, and he's like, what? It's just, where's this limiting belief coming from? I'm like, yeah, I was just like, putting posts out, didn't get the reaction that I wanted. And I just like, am I really doing the right thing here right now? Should I just continue as a platinum trainer and just do it for other people, while my message is not the same message? I mean, as I say, I love Tony's message, but it's not my same message, is it? it's a different message. And why shouldn't I? Why shouldn't we sit here and do it? What's the reason behind we shouldn't? There's no reason. It's just nothing. It's just the ego talking, and then other people's ego on that. And I think sometimes they even put that on you because they do believe that they're actually making their ego feel better or themselves feel better, because when they put these things on other people, it's just a weird thing. They feel better when you feel worse. And I think that is it.
I don't know how you do this every time. So obviously I've been talking about the 3 irrational beliefs. The one that I didn't talk about was number 2, and you've literally just led me into it there, is judgment of others. And this is what they do. They project, don't they? Something that you're doing makes them feel uncomfortable about something that they're not doing. You know, that person is the authority. And did you mention something about it yesterday, about this is why we have wars? It was one of your podcasts, I think.
Yeah.
That with religion, they think that they're the authority, the only authority. And so they judge other people for not believing the same things as them. And then you end up with loads of people dying for no reason. But that's exactly it, isn't it? It's that judgment of others and projecting their ideas onto them, when actually you learn about that. You know, for me and you, we can say, I'm good for your judgment. You carry on. You go over there, hon. I'm not interested. You know, we know what we want to achieve, you know, and it's for the great good.
It is, but you see, and then again, we do care what they're thinking on one point, because, as you said, you would say, okay, go in your corner, but actually no, because we want to switch their mind as well. And it's like, just take your head and just turn it for 5 seconds this direction, right? There's another world out there than out of your tunnel vision that you have there right now. And that is, sometimes you really need to beat it in with a stick. And I think that's the firewall, what it is actually. It's actually beating it with a stick into you and saying, whatever you do believe is not right here. And whatever but else tells you is not right. Because a coal that is 1,200 degrees centigrade hot is going to burn you, because your oven at 200 degrees is going to give you burns, 2nd to 3rd degree burns. So why do you think you can actually walk on these coals? But it's the same with the Indians, where they do this nail bed, you know, where they lie on the nails.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So people would say that's impossible, but they do it on a daily basis. They meditate and they go there on night. So they don't have a special body. They're the same flesh and blood as we are. They don't have a leopard skin, let's put it that way. They just do it, and they will go into this zone moment where they just can relax and actually lie on it, and not a problem. So that's where it is. It's just our society that tells us and everything. And you're absolutely right. I talked about that in the podcast, where it's like, you know, that's where these beliefs are born, where even the wars happen. It's just silly beliefs. And it comes all back to this tribal pressure that we do have. And it's from childhood, I think. It is ingrained in us to do believe what everybody says to you is right. And, you know, you just follow that way. And as you said, oh, it's 9 to 5 and it's too much hassle. And, you know, why would I even do that? And why would I go on a risk in life? It's so comfortable. Bit of comfort as well. Yes, of course. But when you ask them, do you think you could do that? Could you go with us on stage and talk in front of 3, 5, 10,000 people? And they say, no. Why not? What's holding you back? What's holding you back? Do you have a message? fair enough. Just speak it out. Just tell us what is your message. But they come up, oh no, I'm not really good in speaking. I'm not really this. I'm not that. And it's like, they do it on a daily basis and they do it constantly. Well, I don't even question myself anymore in these things, right? I mean, I do. As I said, the ego voice is always there. It's never going to go away completely, but you can tune it down really. And if you have positive affirmations, you tune it down so well that it's there. You just, for me right now, when I have these ego voices coming up to me, and as I say, Tony was yesterday really an eye-opener for me, because again, in 20 minutes, it's just a chat we had, basically. He said, well, you know what? You need to have a VA, number one. And I said, yeah, absolutely agree with you. I think we both need a VA. And we have to look at that. We're going to talk about that, not here live, but we need to talk about that. That does all these things that we do at the moment. It is like, go out and just do social media posts and everything. It's not about not willing to do it, but we do need somebody to deal with that. It's a daily administrative part, which is completely silly. It's not a limiting belief here anymore, because I can do it, but it takes so much time, and it takes away from the core message, and it takes away from the possibility for us to do what we actually want to do and get the message out and put down the message properly. It's like spending 4 hours on a social media post and setting that up. It's silly. It's silly because in this 4 hours, I could have written, I don't know how much actually of program and content that actually needs to go into the trainings and sessions. And as my goal was to write a book until the virtual summit, actually. So I about a month and a half to write this book, which it's easy to do, but I need to get my head around. But then I was saying, I can't do that now. It's not going to happen. And he said, why? I said, well, I wrote the other book here. I wrote this one book last year in actually 3 days. I actually wrote it in 3 days and published it. So I am able to do that. And that is just a good reminder to myself again, where I'm like, see, my little ego voice came in there and said you can't do that. You don't have the time. And he said, well, what's the solution? I said, well, get a VA. And he said, there it is. And then, now we actually announced it, so I'm going to put the banner on. So we're going to be gone for a second. So then afterwards, right after that one, this conversation with Tony, we really were talking about, are we going to do a live event this year? Are we going to go maybe virtual still? Are we going to only do Orlando? Are we going to focus on Orlando next year on the 11th of November? And I just went, fuck it. Absolutely fuck it. And within 2 minutes, this came up. So here we go. We have announced it now, the 11th of November. We are doing the Your Life is Limited Ignite Your Sparkle virtual summit. And that's where it is. It's just like, I just went against my ego here and I said yeah, what the hell? We just do it. I know it's just a month from now on, pretty much a month and a half. We're going to have amazing guests. We're going to have Tony. We're going to have some other guests. I'm trying to get Bob Burke to actually come on. The Go Giver, if you're not familiar with Bob Burke, people, the Go Giver, go and get the book. That's really impressive. And some other NLP coaches as well, so that we have as our guests as well. But why not doing it? What's holding us back here? Nothing. And it's just being in our head again, saying okay, fine. It's a bit much to take on until then. No, it's not. There's for everything, there's a possibility to do that. So yeah. So tickets go on sale, by the way, on the 1st of October, right? Funny pricing structure. So it's the 11th of November, 11/11. It starts at 11/11 in the morning, and it goes until 7 in the evening. I think 7 or 7:30 in the evening. I said it. And then tickets start at £1.11 or 11/11 for the VIP ticket, or 111/11 for the platinum for the sparkle emitter. So we have the sparkle igniter. So we have the general admission, the sparkle igniter, and then the sparkle emitter. So yeah, and it's going to be an amazing event, and I know that it's going to be an amazing event. It's just getting out of the head there, actually saying that.
Yeah,
let's do this.
100%.
And I think that's really great. So how is the challenge going? Actually, I'm part of it. I haven't even been in there. I have to go actually and see how the challenge going.
Yeah, fine. Yeah, I've still got a couple of workbooks I need to do for the end of the week, but yeah, I mean everything's there. Yeah, it's good, and it's just nice to be chatting and putting it out there, like. Again, it's like core messaging, isn't it? About limiting beliefs, changing beliefs, and how you actually go about doing that. It took me nearly 40 years to figure that out. So if I can pay it forward now, happy days. So yeah, hopefully going to be running it maybe once a month, just to kind of get that messaging out there, really. But yeah, can't believe it took me nearly 4 years.
Well, but you're out of it. This is like, it's like, tell the ego it's turned down right now. And you're like, okay, fair enough. I've listened to you for 40 years. Well, yeah. Why would I continue listening to you? Because actually you didn't help me. I mean, this is another thing. It's like when people look at limiting beliefs here, they have to look back and say, well, what good does it do for you? I mean, what is the good part of it? And you when actually look at it and you just debunk it that way, none. There is no benefit of it, of all your beliefs. You actually, what it exactly says in the tin, or what it says on the tin is actually inside the tin, is like, it is a limiting belief. End of it. There's no benefit of it. The only person or the only thing that benefits her is your little ego voice again. And it'll say it's like, I won again.
Stupid brain trying to keep us safe, and it's not.
No, exactly. Yeah, and as I say, this is what I talked yesterday with the podcast about. It's like it tries to avoid you of embarrassment or feeling maybe ridiculous or things like that. As I said, you're sitting in the auditorium and the speaker asks a question and you know the answer, but your voice is going to say, don't lift your hand, because if that is wrong, the answer, everybody's going to laugh at you. So what? If everybody laughs at you, so literally what? I don't care.
This is it. We don't need to be part of the tribe nowadays, do we? At the end of the day, we're self-sufficient. If the brain could catch up with the fact that you can do literally everything on your own if you want to. We don't need to be there as part of a tribe. We're not going to starve to death. If we get kicked out of the tribe, the saber-toothed tiger's not going to chew our heads off. The thing is that the scary stuff that existed then doesn't really exist for us now, because we're self-sufficient. So the sooner people start learning this and waking up, the better society will be.
Yeah, and it's like, you're just changing one person a day, but that might be just a really big movement. I mean, mind-blowing, and that's mind-blowing. That's why, and I had to get that. I had to hear yesterday from Tony as well again. He said, why are you doubting yourself here? I know, he said, when I met you, I knew you're glowing it. you are really strong in bringing the message across. You will move thousands, millions of people if you get your head to it. And so why are you doubting? You know your message is right. Your message is straight and right. And I said, yeah, but but then it's like, snap out of it. Snap out of it right there. Snap out of it. Because people that reach out to me when they listen to the podcast and everything, I was kind of like, I know it. I read it. I see it. I know what I've done to them. I know how they sit there in the morning at 7 o'clock and they wait that it goes up. It's really funny. But just with these, I think what I'm at episode 20, 23, 23, 24. I don't know what it is now. But people have moved so many things in their heads in these 24 episodes, which is just a 10-minute podcast. So if you haven't not been listening to the podcast yet, you should start. Actually, it's really good. And I even when I listen, it's so funny when I record it. So I ramble all off on my tantrum moment here. What's going on with the affirmation, and then I cut it and everything, and then I listen to it one time through completely if I've missed something. And I'm actually sitting there myself and go like, right.
You're affirming the affirmation.
Yes, I'm actually affirming the affirmation. It's like, right, that's right on. And I catch myself where I actually talk about something and I'm working through some of my limiting beliefs as well myself sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's just really funny how you see that. But as I said, it affects other people on a daily basis. And that's the biggest thing we can do to people. I mean, that's why we're sitting here. That's why we're doing this. It's not because, and I said yesterday to Tony as well, it's not about money. This is, I think, when you choose this path, it's way bigger than money. It's money. Yes, of course, we're making money with, coaching, etc. That's normal. But it's not, going back to Bob Burke here, it's how much value do you give to other people? And once you realize that your value, or the biggest value that is there is yourself, and your value is only determined by how much you put other people's interests first. That's where it's all about. Of course we have to pay our bills, but that's not even complicated. That's a really easy thing. But to change the world, and being on a mission like we are, changing the world is, probably thousands of people around us will say we're completely lunatics, to be very honest, because they are in that tribe setting. They will say,
that's not
really
normal.
Do you really think you're going to change the world? Yeah. Otherwise we wouldn't be sitting here. Otherwise we wouldn't be doing that. Otherwise we could have been just continue as a coach, as a personal coach, and saying, well, yeah, we're fine. I have some of our clients that pay our bills, and that's all good. But we set out for big things. We set out about to change the world. And it's like, it's not just the mantra slogan that we do have, changing the jaws of the world every day. It's really what we want to do. And that's where it is. But you see, they try to impose again their thoughts about it, because they wouldn't dare to do it. And I think that's just amazing. So I can only suggest everybody to just come to see us on the virtual event, 11th of November. And obviously we do some other masterclass and workshops before that, but definitely you want to come to this event, because it's going to change your life. And I tell you, it's going to change your life. Doesn't it? Are you affirming that? You're just sitting there and smiling. And just, okay, fine. He's just smiling. I love that. Kellyanne's just smiling
Smiley
now.
person.
Smiley person. Here you go. All glamorous today. I actually would say you look glamorous. Okay, yeah, you do. You look. How was your workout this morning? Where are you at now? Week 10 or week 11?
Week 10. Yeah, so I went for did a 7K run first, and then did, is it total body power? Yeah, today. Yeah, it was fine. Not too bad at all, to be honest. Yeah.
Week 11 is getting funny.
I mean, it always does, doesn't it? But I just need to get some miles in my legs now. Yeah.
I see. I don't like running, so that's one thing. But actually, it's not about limiting belief here. I did last year. I did the 30-day breakaway, which unfortunately I hurt my knee, but that's a different story. But I still don't. I didn't hate it anymore afterwards. Running.
Yeah.
Before I hated it. I did. It's not my thing, running. But I do. Then I do HIIT training and high cardio, and no problems. It's not about the endurance. It's about I just feel bored running. I don't know why. It's just one of the things that just didn't. But afterwards, I kind of liked now the runs that I was doing, the 5K run. That was fair enough. But I'm still not the big fan of it. So I actually do now. As I said, I didn't like the weights as well. And now I actually enjoying the weights. I put up yesterday quite a bit more weight because now in week 11, he asks you to, he will ask you to put up more. But it's just, yeah, that's good.
To be fair, I used to love running, and I ran all the time. So even when I was in Sierra Leone, I did a running program for 10 weeks. I ran 444 miles, but then I got a stress fracture in my foot, and it really knocked me back for a long time. I mean, it took such a long time to heal. So then it was no impact at all, and then I would keep getting stress reactions. So this year is the first year that I've actually got back into it again. Like, I can't say I love it anymore because of that happening. It's always in the back of your head. But
limiting belief.
Still doing it.
No, but you're still doing it. But you see you holding back as well because you're saying, oh, if that happens again. Obviously, you don't want to have that happen again.
Yeah.
But then it's still as well your limiting belief saying like, oh, well, you know.
What happened last time, old lady?
Yeah, exactly. And the same thing. Same with the rotator cuff. I tell you, when I started 645, that was with the rotator cuff. Because in the first, it was not the first week, but I think it was the second week where I really felt it in the shoulder. And I said and I was really angry because I said oh, fuck, I can't do it. Because if that keeps going now and he is doing more push-ups and more planks, and lifting the weight, then he started week 4 where he said lift now the weight on the plank, and I'm like, I don't think this is it. I put the shoulder strap. I even went online and I said I had the shoulder strap. It's it's not painful, but it's like a little pain thing. And I mean, and when I press on it, I can feel it still. But then he was explaining one stage, he was explaining about most shoulder pains are actually because the back muscles are not trained.
Yeah.
And he's doing that. And today, little did you know, I'm in plank there and I'm pulling heavy weight up now. And I was just realizing myself, yeah.
All good.
All good. All bloody good. 8 weeks, 10 weeks ago, you would have asked me doing that? No way. Limiting belief. And again, getting out of your headspace and saying, it is possible. Yes, you need to do it a correct way. I'm not, as I said, please, anybody watching now on replay, please don't decide now to take your coals from down from the ground and just heat them up and walk over that, because there's a way to do it. So if anybody thinks now about walking hot coals right now, please don't do that. There's a way. So there's a way to do these things, and you need to listen to what you need to do, but it's all possible. Right, we are. It's an hour already. My God, this hour went by like this.
I
It's just,
know. Oh,
yeah, it's always good. So I don't know who's gonna be our guest next week, but we're gonna have a guest next week. So let's see who's gonna be here. And yeah, all have an awesome week. And don't forget, sign up for the virtual event, 1st of October. It's opening, and then 11/11. Put it in your calendars. It's gonna be such a great fun day. I think so.
Awesome.
Lovely. Have a great evening, and I'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.